This year, we are happy to present the schools who have worked hard to complete a project that supports this year's theme, biodiversity. Several schools took on related projects within a subcategory of biodiversity. One subcategory of biodiversity is invasive species removal. Invasive species may seem harmless, but their impact on ecosystems can be destructive. Invasive species can be plants, animals, or organisms that are not native to an ecosystem. The following schools chose projects that enhance the biodiversity of their school's ecosystems by removing invasive species or supporting native plant growth. Let's take a look at some of the inspiring initiatives. At Raintree School, students took on the Witchy Woods Honeysuckle Project, clearing out invasive honeysuckle to make way for native flora. Second graders at Southern Boone Elementary School embarked on their From Seed to Planting journey, learning about native flowers and sowing seeds to create a native plant area. Over at the college school, students weren't just removing invasive species, they were building biodiversity by building upcycled bird baths and bat boxes. High schoolers at Ladue Horton Watkins High School took a collaborative approach, designing a native pollinator garden that also served as a mentorship opportunity for younger students. At Narings Hall, high school students transformed a courtyard into a thriving native plant and pollinator garden, complete with educational displays. Meanwhile, at Brittany Woods Middle School, students developed a city-wide plan to increase biodiversity through education and action. And at North Kirkwood Middle School, students explored the world of seeds, educating their peers and distributing native plants to promote biodiversity. Through these projects, students are not only making a difference in their schools, but also in their communities, inspiring others to join the fight against invasive species and protect our precious ecosystems. Our second sub-theme is outdoor learning spaces. Outdoor spaces in schools are more than just areas for recess and play. They are extensions of the classroom into the natural world. Outdoor learning spaces provide the chance for students to learn about the world around them, while also benefiting from fresh air, sensory opportunities, and cooperative hands-on learning. What were this year's Green Schools doing to improve their outdoor learning spaces? At Barrett Elementary, students focused on revitalizing their outdoor classroom. They added a greenhouse for growing vegetables, rain catcher barrels, and solar-powered lights and bird baths. Meanwhile, at Carmen Trails, students worked on enhancing biodiversity and improving their outdoor classroom. At City Garden Montessori School, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders developed plans for nature-based play equipment in their playground, Folsom Field. Tillman Elementary students partnered with a construction company to build raised bed gardens, a sensory space, and a compost area for their outdoor courtyard classroom. At Keyser Elementary, students incorporated STEM into outdoor learning by piloting a new composting system and food waste collection during lunch. And at Rockwood South Middle School, 7th graders transformed a gardening area into a learning garden for the entire community. These projects demonstrate the value of outdoor learning spaces, providing students with hands-on experiences and opportunities to explore the natural world. Our third theme is the 4 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle, reframe. At the heart of sustainability is the drive to recycle and reuse as much of our materials as possible. Many of our schools pursued a project that reduced waste or introduced recycling to their communities. At Belle Reve Elementary, students organized a shoe drive to support both the environment and communities in need. Meanwhile, students at Conway Elementary focused on educating their school community about recycling best practices and started a recycling program. 5th graders at Highcroft Ridge Elementary took on a recycling roundup by collecting recycling around the school. At Villa di Maria Montessori, students improved their selective sorting ability, introduced new recycling programs, and increased education around recycling and TerraCycling. High schoolers at Pattonville worked towards a zero-waste school by minimizing waste, recycling materials, composting food waste, and utilizing resources wisely. The Sustainability Club at Academy of the Sacred Heart aims to create a sustainable school environment through recycling and raising awareness. And lastly, students at Holy Redeemer have been educating their school community about the importance of composting, emphasizing the why behind composting. Our next theme is gardening. Biodiversity means that there is a variety of living organisms that help keep an ecosystem healthy. Many of our schools focus their sustainability projects on their school gardens to ensure their local ecosystems stay diverse, healthy, and beautiful. Some schools use the winter months to increase the biodiversity of their indoor ecosystems as well. At Kingston Elementary, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders constructed a school garden and greenhouse to provide fresh fruits and vegetables for the cafeteria and families in need. Meanwhile, 2nd graders at Betty Wheeler Classical Junior Academy embarked on a beautification project, learning to propagate plants and repurpose furniture to make their school more beautiful. Over at Christ Prince of Peace School, 3rd graders repurposed cardboard to create a butterfly and vegetable garden, fostering biodiversity and sustainability within their community. At Old Bonham Elementary, 4th graders designed a sensory garden using 3D modeling and grant writing, creating an immersive learning space for students. 1st graders at Reed Elementary worked on a butterfly garden project, learning about pollinators and the importance of biodiversity in their ecosystem. At Saul Mirowitz Jewish Community School, 2nd graders raised and released monarch butterflies, playing a role in supporting biodiversity in migration habitats. Students at Wren Hollow Elementary took on the challenge of an indoor tower garden, learning about urban gardening and healthy nutrition while harvesting their own produce. Lastly, at Central High School in Springfield, high schoolers installed a rainwater catchment system to collect rainwater for watering their school gardens and promoting water conservation. The next theme is something we all love, food, and one of the largest sources of waste. This year, several of our schools developed projects to eliminate food waste, changing the way their cafeterias work to support a more sustainable system, and educated their students on sustainable food habits. At Clayman Elementary, students grew food sustainably and introduced plant-based nutrition to students of all grades, finding innovative ways to reduce waste. Meanwhile, at Columbia Elementary, students championed food justice through hydroponic tower gardens. These gardens not only provide fresh produce for school meals, but also go home to families. Over at Sunrise R9 School, kindergartners through 8th graders were on a mission with their project, Hotel Wormifornia. They fed worms to benefit the soil in their school garden, turning leftover food into nutritious meals for the worms. At Marion Middle School, students tackled food waste from their aeroponic tower garden by sharing their produce with the school community and beyond. And finally, at the St. Michael's School of Clayton, students got creative with solar energy. They used recycled materials to create DIY solar cookers, cooking up delicious treats while harnessing the power of the sun. Our next theme is education about sustainability and biodiversity. Many of our schools started researching this year's theme of biodiversity and realized that they needed more time than just a few days of research. They took this year to establish a baseline understanding of sustainability and biodiversity, educating not only themselves but also their school community. At Mann Elementary, kindergartners learned about the importance of biodiversity and implementing meaningful action to maintain a balance in nature. Meanwhile, at MICDS Lower School, elementary students explored biodiversity in their own backyard, discovering the incredible variety of life around their school campus. Over at Pershing Elementary, students took action with the Green Schools Quest After School Club. They used the engineering process to find sustainable solutions for their school. At Arcadia Valley High School, students reclaimed their rural roots with the EduCare program. They learned about sustainability and associated careers through a green newsletter and speaker series. Meanwhile, high schoolers at Kirkwood High School engineered solutions to increase biodiversity on campus, bringing the outdoors in and promoting student interaction with nature. At St. Joseph's Academy, students are shuffling towards sustainability with the Sustainability Shuffle, making progress towards a more sustainable future for their school. Over at St. Teresa's Academy, students dove into biodiversity with hands-on projects. They increased fungi levels, monitored microbial action, and created scavenger hunts to promote biodiversity. At Brentwood Middle School, students with the Green Club focused on composting, maintained native gardens, and educated their community. Meanwhile, middle schoolers at Maplewood Richmond Heights enhanced community biodiversity by restoring rain gardens, monitoring soil biodiversity, and educating incoming 6th graders. At Oak Hill R1 Middle School, students explored biodiversity around the world. They researched and presented on endangered species, raising awareness among their peers. And lastly, at Truman Middle School, students proposed sustainability projects for funding. They introduced hydroponics, reusable trays, and overcame logistical challenges for a greener future. Our next subtheme is incorporating sustainability into curriculum. Oftentimes, sustainability initiatives can feel like a project with a start and end date, but a beautiful part of the Green Schools Quest is that schools are encouraged to choose projects that do not have an expiration date. Many of our schools took on long-term projects that include incorporating sustainability into the curriculum or adopting a whole school sustainability framework. At Principia School, third graders embarked on a unique project to create a sustainable business from a beehive on campus. They learned about economics while educating the community about the importance of bees. Meanwhile, Crestwood Elementary students wanted to raise awareness to combat biodiversity loss. Their efforts included a school festival that reached over 60 families and a dozen staff members, leaving a lasting impact. Over at Fern Ridge High School, students focused on harvesting harmony by growing food for culinary classes and families. They embraced sustainability in various aspects of school life, from food production to waste reduction. And lastly, Knifer Middle School, students explored biodiversity through art. They learned about the present species and made art based on those species, celebrating the work at a formal art gallery opening. This subtheme is energy analysis and data. While some schools took to the outdoors to explore sustainability projects in the natural world, many schools took a look inside their built environments, the physical school building itself, to analyze data of energy use, air quality, light quality, and many other factors that change a student's experience inside their school. At St. Francis of Assisi School, students conducted an energy audit and researched energy sources using a kilowatt meter and light meter. Meanwhile, at Althoff Catholic High School, students focused on improving lighting efficiency through a detailed lighting audit. Lutheran North Middle and High School students took action to improve their indoor air quality by distributing air purifying plants to each classroom. Their efforts aimed to create a healthier environment for students, especially those with asthma. Lastly, students at St. Louis University High School conducted an air quality audit using temperature and humidity sensors, occupant satisfaction and transportation surveys, and variable air volume boxes. Our last subtheme is on birds. While some schools looked down into the earth to explore their school's biodiversity, a few of our students took to the skies. Several schools looked at bird communities in their neighborhood and worked hard to support their habitats. Elementary students at Spady Elementary embarked on an avian restoration project. Their goal was to attract various bird species to repopulate areas where natural habitats were destroyed by construction. Similarly, students at St. Paul's Lutheran ECC developed plans for an eco-bird garden. They planned, planted, and cared for a diverse garden designed to attract and support local bird populations. We are extremely proud of all the amazing and meaningful projects in this year's 2024 Green Schools Quest. We thank you for being part of making our schools, communities, and world a more sustainable place.